this stuff is going on, so I made sure I recorded it and email. Everything I do, I document it, because the depth is unbelievable. Like, I can't even believe this stuff is happening at this great amount by this many different people that's supposed to be law officials who's controlling the justice system. But only thing it's doing is manifesting to me why Wisconsin is the worst place for black people to live for, and why our incarceration system, because it's a money machine. How did you spend the entire morning going through them inside of the felony case office? When now I'm out, my attorney, while I'm out, the same place you said you got them from, saying we never got the search warrants. We don't get them, and they don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What's your status right now?
I don't know. Like,
as we sit here in this.
As we sit right here, I was supposed to start trial on August 13th through the 16th, I believe, and I just got a letter from the DA, backdated, stating I got 5 days to reply. They want to postpone my trial because Cree counsel Kristen Chapman is not going to be ready, and Anthony Trevino, I think he's Cree's, I think he's security or something.
Right.
Like
so
that.
Right now you are still a defendant in that case.
I'm still a defendant.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're still trying to pursue you on some kind of a criminal charge. We haven't gotten to the point yet where you're ready to pursue them for false imprisonment.
Yeah, I gotta.
I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just wondering.
Oh yeah.
I thought you said there's a trial. I thought maybe. Maybe there's something else going on here.
It's a lot more going on, and it's a lot of powerful people who's in position, whose integrity, and they're powerful, and it's too many, and I think that's the hold up. Like, they too many powerful people. Careers and future is on the line with my one case.
All right, now let's move in a little bit different direction right now, so we can kind of bring this all together. At some point in time, the district attorney's office for Racine County referred this case to Walworth County for prosecution.
Yeah, they illegally assigned me. Okay, in order, Wisconsin statutes 978.
Don't worry about it.
I got it. 978.
Put it up on the screen when you find out.
Yeah. Wisconsin it might be 968-045. Section 1 RBM. It states, in order for a county to assign a special prosecutor, they gotta first get permission from the Department of Administration in Madison, right? And they gotta submit a sworn affidavit, and they gotta get approved by the Department of Administration. So I was looking at the Stephen Avery case, right? So one day on August 19th, 2016, I show up at court. This lady named Yvonne McNeil, her house was one of the houses that was, her vacant rental property was raided in connection to my case. And so I had released a documentary called Corruption at 717, and I was on Facebook talking about the case, showing the documents, the fake search warrants, and she saw the search warrant to her house that I had made to the public, and she was like, she hit me on Facebook, I believe, was like, where did you get that from? I've never seen that. So we made connection, and then I got to showing her the police reports and stuff, what they're saying, she said, and this and that, and she denying all of it. So she said, I'm going downtown, and I'm going to file an open record request for these search warrants and this stuff they're saying that I said. And that was on August 1st. She wrote a complaint to Patricia Hansen and to the DA office, the Racine County DA office. And so that was on August 11th when she sent the certified mail, wrote them, email, all different ways. And so when I get to court on August 19th, all of a sudden, Patricia Hansen needs to withdraw from my case because I insulted her on the internet.
And that was the point at which they decided to
now
he
moves out to Walworth County.
Mm-hmm. Her reason for withdrawing was because I made insults about her on the internet, which that's a DA. If I did anything illegal, you would have probably brought more charges on me. So obviously it wasn't nothing illegal. And also the appearance of impropriety, whatever that it means. And so she withdrew from my case, and she said that they was going to appoint a Walworth County prosecutor named Daniel Nisi. So I looked into Daniel Nisi, he announced his resignation from Walworth County. So how's you appointing a Walworth County DA who announced his resignation? So
that's good.
So on top of that, so I get to, at the next September 16th court date, he don't show up. It's a lady named Haley Jo Johnson from Walworth County. So and then she show up again on October 21st or something like that. So in the meantime, between time, I was doing research on the Stephen Avery case, and I found the affidavit that must be submitted to the Department of Department of Administration.
Yeah.
I found a copy of one because he had a special prosecutor on his case. And so I went downtown on November 29th and requested a copy of that record from Clerk of Courts. I got it all on video, man. They sent me from the big courthouse to the next court, to the felony case office. They had me standing there for an hour. Then they gave me one that wasn't sworn to. It's by the new DA, and it wasn't notarized. So on the form it says a copy of this must be sent to the Department of Administration, and it had a number and address. So I called the number right when I left on November 29th, and I talked to Elizabeth something, and she's like the attorney, works at the state attorney's office. And I requested a copy. They copied, and she sent me one the next day, email. And when I looked at it and I compared the two, all of a sudden, this one right here that she sent me is sworn to by DA Haley Johnson and signed on November 29th, which happens to be the same day I went down there and requested the record. So Haley Jo Johnson was representing the state outside her jurisdiction. And so basically she was just pretending as she was being the DA. She was illegally representing the state in Racine County. And so I find that out. Haley Jo Johnson.
And this was to get the case transferred. That's the affidavit.
Yeah, well, they transferred her out, and then you got a new prosecutor, came back, and then had to go through
this. Because it remains a Racine County case. I just got a Walworth County prosecutor if the procedure is done right.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, now let's go to the discovery part. Now you're saying, okay, we're going to go to trial. You know, you're going to represent yourself because you felt these the attorneys you had were not doing the job. You start to ask for information. One particularly, the house that was raided, your parents' home was raided. There was a security system on the house with cameras, 8 different cameras. They took apparently the security box or the digital recording box, and you would ask for that numerous times.
Well, now I look back in retrospect, David Sedano was trying to keep me against my parents. You know what I mean? Because all while I was in jail, I wasn't talking to my parents due to stuff David Sedano was saying. You know what I mean? And so he was saying like my mom made these false statements against me and stuff like that. So the whole time, like every time I was going to court, like the first 6 court dates, for the first 6 months, my parents would be in court, but I wasn't speaking to them. I was more like, what y'all doing here? You know, I had that type of attitude because of stuff David Sedano was telling me. But my dad was coming to my court dates not only to support me, but also he wanted his surveillance equipment back because someone had robbed our garage a few times, and he also got out his RV one night when he was getting out of his car, and somebody came from behind his RV tried to rob him with a gun, and so that was the reason why.
He wanted his
security. And so when they took it, according to him, they said they was going to download the video from it and give it back in 2 days. Now and they never did. So he came to court. He wrote the judge a couple times, and then he came to court on June 23rd or something, or 2015, and the judge ordered the return of the surveillance. And then so they're supposed to give it to him at the next court date. So they say come back. They'll provide it, which provided to you in court. So he come back in July. Come back to that court date. We're having a problem downloading it. We'll give it to him the next court date. So it's already ordered to be returned. He come back in August. We had to send it to the crime lab. The crime lab added this on vacation. We promised we'll have it in September. He come back in September. The crime lab, I don't know, it got caught in the mail. They were just saying anything. So they avoiding giving him back the surveillance equipment. Now it's making me think, what's on that video they don't want me to see? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So they never gave back the DVR surveillance equipment until, what was that, about 2 months ago?
Yeah.
And when they gave it back, all the video was deleted off of it.
Wipe clean.
Wipe clean.
Except
Hillary's at it again.
Okay, so we're in the discovery stage now. You're trying to gather information as your trial is coming closer. Now it just continues on and continues on. Now you get a change of judge, if I'm not mistaken. You are now going to be pro se. You're going to represent yourself because you feel like, because most of these attorneys want you to just plead out. You spent 10 months in jail and you're saying, hey, listen, I'm not going to plead out on this. I'm going to go to trial. Am I correct at this point?
There was never really, they have never really been like, okay, I've never been offered a plea except for at my preliminary hearing. I don't believe in waiving my preliminary hearing. Most people do, but I attempted not to waive my preliminary hearing, and that was the first day I met David Sedano. And he when the judge asked me, do you want to waive your preliminary hearing? I was like, no. David Sedano asked the judge, can I speak to my client in the hallway privately? And for a moment, right? So he stopped the courtroom, he took me out in the hallway, and then he said, well, yeah, you waive your preliminary hearing, you don't waive your preliminary hearing, you're making the biggest mistake. And then he said, the DA said they're gonna throw out the THC charge and drop this to that, and whatever else. And it never happened. I'm still facing the exact same charges. You know what I mean? But other than that, they haven't even came to me with a plea other than the psychiatrist who tried to offer me 6 months deferred prosecution.
Okay. Well, that was after you did declare that you wanted to go pro se.
Okay, so now you're going to go pro se. You're going to go. You tell the judge, I'm going to represent myself, and then the judge says, we want to see if you're mentally capable of, stable enough, I guess, to represent yourself. And then they ordered a psychiatric evaluation.
After she had already said that you're competent. See, what happened was I had drew up a motion, and the motion was exposing everything. And so they was trying their best to keep me not from presenting that motion. Like any other, like I had already been representing myself at the last couple court dates. And I was asking for my bond money back to, in order using my exercising my Sixth Amendment right for my bond money back in order for me to be able to afford an attorney. And she objected. She rejected it, and she said, "You're competent enough to represent yourself. We're not giving you your bond money back." In so many words, you're competent. So now I'm drawing up these motions, and I'm exposing everything that's going on my motion to dismiss. Now all of a sudden, she used these trickery words and getting me to saying, "Yeah, I'm incompetent. I need a." So there's just type of games they're playing. So now all of a sudden, I'm in a situation where I got to have a psychiatric evaluation, and if I don't accept it, I'm going into an inpatient psychiatric evaluation. So now they're trying to put me in Winnebago or something. So, and that's basically what she was saying. Well, if you don't sit here and have this, because I'm like, I don't even have an attorney. I don't even know if my constitutional rights is being violated or not. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so she's like, well, if you don't have this right here, we're going to have it one way or another. You know what I mean? She didn't know I was recording with my cell phone.
Well, yeah, no, the role of the psychiatrist or psychologist was to come in strictly to evaluate you to determine whether or not you were intelligent enough, mentally competent enough to represent yourself.
Right.
But what did that interview turn into when she was talking with you?
Did it
feel like a psychiatric evaluation?
No, she started trying to bribe me. She started offering me plea deals, and she tried to attack me. Like my phone was laying on. See, Jim was with me. And Jim was with me with the camera. And
let me explain a little bit here. Now, after meeting James back when he did his documentary 717,
717.
We had talked because I had done a documentary also, so we had done some discussion, and he had kind of explained his case. And I'll be honest, at first I thought, James, there's an awful lot of stuff going on here, and it sounds kind of wild, and I'm not sure I, want to jump on board with this thing, And it takes a lot of time to film court cases, and there's a lot of dead time that you spend a lot of time in this, and for some way I just felt there's something not quite right. The warrant thing always stuck with me,
right.
And so I started to film. Now about halfway through your court dates, I started to come to your court dates and to start filming these court dates because I felt something just doesn't.
It's good to have documentation.
It's good to have documentations. I thought, well, if anything, I just blew a lot of time, and you tricked me into this and whatever. So, but as time went on, I kind of realized that what you're saying is there's definitely some validity to some of this stuff. And so anyway, when we talk about the psychiatrist, they did not let me go into that interview or evaluation. So I was there, but they refused the camera in the room. So go ahead.
Yeah, so I already had a feeling that was going to happen. I smelt it. I knew that they was up to something. So I always had my phone back up recording. So when she saw that, she kept Jim out because she was saying like, I'm like, no, I don't want to do this interview unless you can come in. She's like, well, I'm just going to write it to the judges if you can cooperate. You know what I mean? So she finna get me locked up, bail jump. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, well, I reluctantly did the interview. It started off, we was more like back and forth, and then like after 5-10 minutes, it got to seem professional the way that you would think a psychiatric evaluation would go. And then like 20 minutes into it, that's when she started pitching plea deals. So what you think about a 6 month deferred prosecution? I'm like, what's a deferred prosecution? And then she break it down to him. She was like, well, if you do 6 months to a year, this disappears and this and that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I say, look, I'm not taking anything but not guilty. You know what I mean? Or acquittal. I mean, that's just the bottom line. I'm not going to accept anything for nothing that I didn't do. You know what I mean? And that's when I could tell that she was emotionally invested because she got in her. You mean to tell me you won't take 6 months, this and that? You're facing 20-something years and woo. You know what I mean? So she got to yelling at me like, just think you could tell. You know what I mean? Like.
She's trying to browbeat you, bully you too. See, I tell you, this bullying goes on, not just little kids, remember?
So she was trying, like, I could tell by the interview, like, she was trying to get some kind of emotion out of me, but she saw that I was just being too cool about it. And you know what I mean? Like, yeah, okay, and then she's telling me law, like, you know what I mean? But then if I ask her something about the law, I'm not an attorney, but then you're arguing the law for them. And then when there's a question I ask, oh, I can't answer that. I can't give you any legal advice. But you're giving me all legal advice this whole time that you're saying, talking to me. So,
well, the bottom line is that they did find you competent.
Yeah, they found me competent.
Yeah, so you're back in court.
Yeah, they found me competent. But I must say this on camera: the lady tried to attack me. Like my phone laying on the table, and she looked down at my phone. She said, "Are you recording me?" I said, "No, I'm not recording you." So when she started thinking that I was recording her, she started going back and trying to clean up all the stuff the mess she was just saying to me, right? So she went up and started trying to clean that up first. And then when the interview ended, we sitting at the conference table, so she come around the table, let me see your phone. I'm like, no, this is my phone. So my phone's still laying on the table. She heard me try to grab it, so I grabbed it before her, you know what I mean? And then she tried to grab it out of my hand, so I'm like, this is my phone. And then I don't really want to go on to get no tussle with this lady. We inside the sheriff's department. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So then that's how it ended, just like that. Yes. So after running around trying to get the search warrants and discovery, every time I go to court, it's a new legal custodian of the documents that I'm requesting. I didn't file open records requests plenty of times. I didn't ask the judge, file a motion to compel, everything. And I go to court today. Today it might be the sheriff department got the records you're requesting, set me up with somebody to call. And then I call them, they don't answer the phone, or they don't return my call. Then I go down there, they say we don't got them, the clerk of court got them. Then I go to the clerk of court office, we don't got them, felony courts got them. If I go to felony courts, we don't got them, Walworth County got them. So now that's a violation of my constitutional right. Oh, you got to drive up to Walworth County to get the records. Every record that Walworth County has should be a copy from the original here. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I now I'm finding out that this new attorney, I don't even really like saying that much because people like these. But anyways, so
now the new attorney is from Walworth County.
No, he's from Milwaukee.
He's from Milwaukee. Oh,
and so I noticed a pattern of practice between my attorneys, so I recorded them too. Because I started noticing a pattern of practice. My attorneys will let me know everything that they're doing wrong on my case, and in between the time of them talking to the DA and my next court date, we'll draw up a plan. This is what we're going to do. We're going to file this motion. I get to court, it'll be a whole different motion. It's something totally different said at the court. And then when the DA is attacking the defense ain't even responding. He's just sitting there just taking blows, like not coming back with this hard evidence, ain't saying anything about the search warrants, none of that. So I knew to record. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, it's a good policy to have video and audio.
Yeah, so everything, like it's hard. I knew I'm a young black male. I ain't young no more, but I used to be. But I mean, I knew I got a criminal record and all that. I knew me trying to say that these hierarchy people, is status quo type people. Like I'm accusing them of being a criminal when society paint me as a criminal. You know what I mean? And so I knew that it was going to be hard for me to convince the white guys that run the world and the system that this stuff is going on. So I made sure I recorded it and email everything I do. I document it because the depth is unbelievable. Like I can't even believe this stuff is happening at this great amount by this many different people that's supposed to be law officials who's controlling the justice system. But only thing it's doing is manifesting to me why Wisconsin is the worst place for black people to live for, and why our incarceration system, because it's a money machine.